He looks innocent enough. Elsa singing, Peppa laughing, Spider-Man dancing. But just minutes in, something changes. The scenery gets strange. The characters start crying. A syringe appears. A weapon. A scream. And yet, your kid keeps watching. This isn't the return of Elsagate. It's something far more advanced, faster, smarter, harder to stop. And it's happening on the devices children use every day. This is Elsagate 2.0, and it's powered by AI. Picture this. It's a quiet Sunday morning. A parent hands their 4-year-old an iPad with YouTube Kids open, thinking they're giving them something safe, educational, maybe even beneficial. The child sees Elsa from Frozen on the thumbnail, their favorite character, and taps the screen with pure excitement. But what they're about to watch isn't Disney magic. It's Elsa getting her teeth violently pulled out by a dentist while she screams. It's Peppa Pig drinking bleach. It's Spider-Man injecting pregnant Elsa with mysterious syringes while she cries. And here's the part that's been keeping me up for weeks. This isn't just some random disturbing content that slipped through the cracks. This is a calculated, systematic exploitation of childhood psychology powered by algorithms and now enhanced by artificial intelligence. It's gotten so sophisticated that it's fooling not just children, but the very systems designed to protect them. I've spent a good amount of time diving deep into what's being called Elsagate. What I found isn't just disturbing content. It's a blueprint for how predators, profit seekers, and psychological manipulators are weaponizing the very characters children love most. And in 2025, it's evolving in ways that should terrify every parent, educator, and honestly, every human being who cares about protecting childhood innocence. So grab something to drink, because we're about to uncover how beloved childhood characters became weapons of psychological warfare. Why your kid's YouTube algorithm might be more dangerous than you think, and how artificial intelligence is making this nightmare exponentially worse. Let me paint you a picture, a complete picture of how we got here, because understanding Elsagate isn't just about disturbing videos, it's about understanding how predators think, how algorithms work, and how childhood psychology can be exploited at scale. Elsagate existed since at least 2012, but reached its peak in 2017 when the term itself was formed and gained extensive attention. But here's what most people don't realize. We're not just dealing with the same problem from 2017. We're dealing with Elsagate 2.0, powered by artificial intelligence and more sophisticated than ever before. So we have a few players in this psychological horror story. So we have innocent victims, children aged 2 to 8 whose brains are literally wired to trust familiar characters. When they see Elsa or Spider-Man, their guard drops completely. They're not thinking critically, they're thinking, my favorite character is here, so this must be safe. Next, we have the sophisticated predators. Not just lone wolves in basements, but organized networks of content creators who understand child psychology better than most parents do. They study what makes children click, what keeps them watching, and most disturbingly, what normalizes inappropriate behavior. Next, we have the algorithmic accomplices. YouTube's recommendation system, designed to maximize watch time, not child safety. It doesn't care if a video is psychologically damaging, it only cares if children keep watching. We also have the AI accelerants. Wired today reported a new flash of Elsagate-esque content on YouTube, and this time, the people making them are using AI. Content creators are now using artificial intelligence to mass produce disturbing content faster than human moderators can detect and remove it. Actually, I stumbled into this rabbit hole 3 weeks ago when a friend shared a video with me, laughing about weird kids content. But as I watched Peppa Pig getting surgery while crying for her mommy, I wasn't laughing. I was horrified. See, there's something profoundly disturbing about talking characters specifically designed to represent safety, love, and childhood wonder, and corrupting them into vehicles for psychological manipulation. It's not just inappropriate content, it's betrayal of trust at the most fundamental level. But what really got me was realizing that this isn't accidental. Every element, the character choice, the thumbnail design, the audio cues, even the video length, is carefully calculated to exploit specific vulnerabilities in child psychology. Here's what didn't sit right with me from the very beginning. Why these specific characters? Why Elsa? Why Spider-Man? Why Peppa Pig? And why Mickey Mouse? Why not original characters? Because predators understand something crucial about child psychology. Familiarity equals safety. When a child sees a character they love, their critical thinking shuts down. They don't question whether this version of Elsa is appropriate. They just think, Elsa is here, so everything is okay. It's psychological manipulation 101, but applied to the most vulnerable population on Earth. Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. And by interesting, I mean absolutely terrifying. This isn't random content. There are clear patterns, repeated themes, and psychological tactics that appear across thousands of videos. First, we have the trust hijacking pattern. Every video starts with familiar characters in familiar settings. Elsa in her castle, Spider-Man in New York, Peppa Pig at home with her family. This immediately triggers the child's comfort response. Their brain saying, I know this is safe. Then gradually, and this is key, the content shifts. Maybe Elsa starts crying. Maybe Spider-Man gets hurt. The child wants to help their favorite character. They're emotionally invested now. Then we have the curiosity gap exploitation. The titles are specifically designed to create irresistible curiosity gaps for children. Some examples include Elsa's Secret Surgery, or What's Inside Peppa Pig, and maybe Spider-Man's Big Problem. From a psychological perspective, this behavior pattern suggests creators who deeply understand how children's mind works. They know children can't resist mysteries involving their favorite characters. They're exploiting natural childhood curiosity and turning it into a weapon. And finally, we have the normalization through repetition. Here's where it gets really sinister. Children exposed to this content don't just watch one video. The algorithm ensures they watch dozens, sometimes hundreds. Each video pushes the boundary a little further. The first video, Elsa gets a small cut and needs a band-aid. The 10th video, Elsa is getting surgery while screaming. The 15th video, Elsa is in scenarios I won't even describe in this video. Now, here's the part that should keep you awake at night. Like the OG Elsagate videos. These feature kid-bait characters like minions, Thomas the Tank Engine, and even Elsa herself. But now they're being produced by artificial intelligence. Think about that for a second. AI can now create hundreds of these videos in the time it used to take to create one. The volume has exploded exponentially, and the content is becoming more sophisticated and mimicking legitimate children's programming. But wait, there's more. AI doesn't just create videos, it's learning from them. Every time a child watches, every time they click away, every time they share with a friend, the AI is collecting data about what works best to manipulate young minds. I had to understand, why does this content exist? Who benefits? This leads us into the money trail. A content farm is a YouTube channel that produces videos at an extreme pace for gain of money to manipulate or for infamy. These aren't artistically driven creators, they're digital content farms optimized for profit. Children generate higher engagement rates than adults. They watch longer, they watch more frequently, and they're less likely to use ad blockers. From a purely financial perspective, children are the most vulnerable audience on YouTube. This is the global scale. This isn't just happening in English. I found similar content in Spanish, Portuguese, Hindi, Mandarin, and languages I couldn't even identify. This is a global phenomenon targeting children worldwide. In response to growing concerns, YouTube has implemented stricter policies and algorithms to detect and remove inappropriate content. But here's the problem. They're playing defense against an opponent that adapts faster than they can respond. For every video YouTube removes, AI can generate 10 more. For every detection algorithm they create, content farms develop new ways to evade it. It's a technological arm race, and children are caught in the crossfire. I finally understood what was really happening when I realized this isn't just about inappropriate content. This is about psychological conditioning. These videos are training children to accept increasingly disturbing scenarios as normal. Now let me explain what I mean by that, because this is the part that made me physically sick. So this process is called the conditioning process. Stage 1 is trust building. Child sees familiar character in familiar setting. Brain releases comfort chemicals. Child associates the video source with safety. Stage 2, boundary testing. Character experiences mild distress or unusual situation. Child's empathy is engaged. They want to help or understand what's happening. Stage 3, normalization. Through repetition across multiple videos, increasingly disturbing scenarios become normal for this character. Child's baseline for what's acceptable gradually shifts. Stage 4, desensitization. Children may become desensitized to violence, display aggressive tendencies, or suffer from anxiety and nightmares. What once would have upset them now seems routine. And finally, stage 5, behavioral modeling. Children begin to replicate behaviors they've seen, playing doctor games with inappropriate themes, normalizing violence or sexuality in their own play. And this has long-term psychological impact. This isn't just about one disturbing video. This is about systematic rewiring of how children understand relationships, boundaries, and appropriate behavior. I keep thinking about what drives someone to this point. What kind of person specifically targets the psychological vulnerabilities of children? What does it say about our society that this is not just happening but thriving? And the thing is, this has real world consequences. Teachers report children acting out scenarios from these videos. Parents find their kids playing games involving medical procedures, injections, and scenarios that mirror Elsagate content. But here's what's even more disturbing. Children exposed to this content often can't articulate what they've seen or why it upset them. They just know something feels wrong, but they don't have the vocabulary or emotional framework to process it. Remember how I said this was Elsagate 2.0? Here's why 2025 is different from 2017. There is a volume explosion. AI can generate content faster than humans can review it. Given these numbers, it's not surprising that YouTube relies on artificial intelligence and sophisticated analytics to implement ethical controls over content. But the AI creating harmful content is evolving faster than the AI designed to detect it. There is a sophistication increase. The new AI generated content is more subtle, more psychologically sophisticated, and harder to detect. It doesn't look obviously wrong at first glance. There is also cross-platform migration. When content gets banned on YouTube, it immediately appears on TikTok, Instagram Reels, and other platforms where children spend time. YouTube will enable the removal of AI-generated or synthetic content through its privacy request process, but this reactive approach isn't enough when content creators can generate thousands of videos overnight. And here's why parents can't keep up. The average parent has no idea how sophisticated these manipulation tactics have become. They see a thumbnail with Elsa and think, that looks fine. They don't understand the psychological conditioning happening beneath the surface. And so, the bigger picture, what Elsagate reveals about us, this story isn't really about YouTube or disturbing videos. It's about how we protect childhood in a digital age. It's about who bears responsibility when technology designed for connection becomes a weapon for exploitation. There is something profound about how people justify their actions to themselves. The creators of this content probably tell themselves they're just trying to make money, that they're not directly harming anyone, but they are. They're systematically damaging the psychological development of the most vulnerable members of our society, children. What I've learned from studying this phenomenon is that predators are often more sophisticated than we give them credit for. They understand child psychology, they understand technology, and they understand how to exploit the intersection of the two. But I've also learned that awareness is our most powerful tool. Once you understand how these manipulation tactics work, you can't be fooled by them anymore. And moving forward, this really makes you question what we really know about protecting children in digital spaces. Traditional parenting advice, just monitor what your child's watching, isn't enough when the threats are this sophisticated and this rapidly evolving. So here's what parents need to know. Familiar characters don't guarantee safe content. AI-generated content is becoming indistinguishable from legitimate content. Children's algorithms learn and adapt to keep them watching. The psychological impact extends far beyond screen time. And here's what platforms need to do. Proactive content detection, not just reactive removal. Human oversight of all children's content. Transparency about how recommendation algorithms work. Real accountability for content that harms children. And here's what society needs to address. The economic incentives that make this content profitable. The global nature of the problem requiring international cooperation. The need for digital literacy education starting in early childhood. At the end of the day, behind every one of these videos is a child whose understanding of the world is being deliberately distorted. A child who trusted Elsa to keep them safe, only to have that trust weaponized against them. I still don't have the answers, but here's what I keep thinking about. How do we preserve childhood innocence in an age when innocence itself has become a target for exploitation? As of 2025, the battle against Elsagate continues. Platforms are implementing new policies, parents are becoming more aware, and researchers are studying the long-term impacts. But the fundamental problem remains. As long as there's money to be made from exploiting children's psychology, someone will try to make it. The question isn't whether we can completely eliminate this threat. It's whether we can stay ahead of it long enough to protect the children who need us most. Look, if you're a parent, educator, or just someone who cares about protecting children, understand the tactics. Knowledge is your best defense. Monitor actively, don't just rely on platform filters. Educate your children. Age-appropriate conversations about media literacy go a long way. Support better policies. Contact representatives about children's digital rights. Share awareness. Help other parents understand these risks. Spreading awareness is the first step to change. This investigation changed how I think about childhood, technology, and protection. It reminded me that predators evolve, technology evolves, but our responsibility to protect children remains constant. The children watching Elsagate content today will be adults in 15 years. What kind of world do we want them to create? What understanding of relationships, boundaries, and safety do we want them to carry forward? Those questions keep me up at night. But they also motivate me to keep investigating, keep sharing, and keep fighting for a digital world where childhood innocence is protected, not exploited. I'd love to know if you've encountered this content in your own life, whether as a parent, as an educator, or as someone who works with children. How do we balance protecting children with teaching them to navigate digital spaces? What questions does this raise about technology, parenting, or society as a whole? This is just the beginning of a conversation we need to be having, because protecting children isn't just a platform responsibility or a parent responsibility, it's a human responsibility. And if there's one thing I hope you take away from this, it's that awareness is power. Now that you know these manipulation tactics and how they work, you can't be fooled by them. You can protect the children in your life. You can be part of the solution. Thank you for taking this journey with me. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary. And if you learned something that helps protect even one child, then every difficult moment of this investigation was worth it. Stay cozy, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.